What a great time to be a Giant, be a fan of the Giants.
Like, we have something going here. We're building something special, and you can see it from the outside and inside. It's even more beautiful.
Reflecting on everything that got me here, just to see that uniform, and I watched. That's the team I watched the most growing up because my dad was a Giants fan. So
once a Giant, always a Giant. For me, it's only a Giant.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of All In with Art Stapleton, the New York Giants podcast brought to you by NorthJersey.com. I'm your host, Art Stapleton, and we are coming to you again on the road outside Detroit, Michigan, from Allen Park, which is where the Detroit Lions have their training facility. And we just finished up day two of the joint practices between the Giants and the Lions. A lot more confidence from the Giants today. How I described it earlier this morning to someone is that it was as if the Giants came out in a boxing match and tried to feel out their opponent on Tuesday, and the Lions came out punching. Now, that may have to do with the way the styles, the certain teams practice during the summer. Everybody practices differently. So maybe the Lions were a little bit more aggressive yesterday. Giants had not been used to that kind of aggression. Brian Daboll has really put an emphasis on taking care of the players this summer, making sure that there's a time and a place, and in team drills not to be as physical. So obviously coming into this week, it ramps up some. And I think the Giants came out, especially offensively, defensively, they played pretty well on Tuesday. I thought they were good, very good in spots on Wednesday. So let's talk it. We got some sound for you. I got a one-on-one with Giants rookie corner, first-round pick, Deontay Banks. It was a quick interview, but it was Deonte coming off the field. He had an excellent day today. He broke up a pass in the end zone that what was really one of the best plays for the Giants in the last two practices. I thought that was very, very encouraging with the way Banks played. Got picked on a little bit yesterday in one-on-ones, but that always favors the offense in those situations. And then today, his pass breakup, he did a lot of covering of Amon St. Brown. So obviously a talented receiver inside, gave the Giants fits last year, and Banks did a very good job on him. Also had a pass breakup later in coverage, and I tell you, it was I think it was a very good day for Deontay Banks, especially. The second pass breakup was against Sam Laporta, a talented rookie tight end. So I think you'll enjoy listening to Banks. And then when we're done with the Banks interview, I'll give you more of the defensive takes, and then we'll switch to the offensive side of the ball. And we've got some sound from Isaiah Hodgins, who, very interesting, he pointed out to us, revealed that before practice today, Darren Waller and Daniel Jones kind of rallied the offense a little bit, had an effect early with the urgency that they played with, and the offense looked much better today than they did yesterday. Jones looked good, threw a bunch of touchdowns in team periods. We'll get to that after the Hodgins sound. So first up, let's roll right in to my one-on-one off the field with Giants rookie Tay Banks. It is coming right off the field, so the audio is a little shaky, but wanted to make sure you guys got it. My producer, Paul Wood, props to him back in the studio, try to clean it up as best he could. But here's me with Deontay Banks.
Play down at the goal line, what'd you see, and how were you attacking that play in that situation?
It was some of the PB you had?
Yeah.
It was just like, I was playing outside there, so I was just waiting on it. I was out breaking route, and change it back in, so I just played on the double move basically.
You swatted away with your left hand?
Yeah.
You lefty or righty?
I'm a righty.
So, a little unorthodox with that left.
Just a little bit.
Tell me about this experience for you. I mean, this is really the first time of going against guys on the NFL level.
I've been feeling real good. Like, shit feel real good. Like, I don't know. It just feel like I belong. Like, I feel good because I'm playing football. Like, this is something I've been doing. This is something I continue to keep doing.
When you get back to the hotel last night, how much do you critique what you did? How much do you change and adjust to today?
I watched a bunch of films just to make sure I came out here and had a better day. I ain't saying I had a bad day yesterday, but I want to keep getting better every day.
What did you notice about the different receivers? I mean, I know you're not necessarily breaking down film of those guys, or are you? How hard is it to come into practice when you don't really know the traits of the guys you're going against?
I mean, it's hard. It ain't that hard because, like, as a DB, you always moving reactionary. So, like, regardless of how much film you watch on him, he can do whatever he wants to. You just got to be able to react to it.
Different sizes today. Obviously, you were a little physical with some of the guys. Do you pride yourself on that physicality?
Oh yeah, that's what I do. That's kind of my superpower, being physical.
Are you looking forward to Friday night? And I mean, I know the coaches haven't really talked about who's playing, who isn't, but if you get a chance to go out there, I know it's only preseason, but what will that be?
Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be real fun. My first NFL game. Even if it's a preseason game, it's still my first NFL game.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, so there you have it. Deontay Banks. I think I may have stumbled over my words and called him Deontay Banks, which we know it's not Dante. So kind of get caught between the Deontay and what everyone else calls him is Tay. So I have a feeling the further along he gets in his career, he's going to be Tay Banks and not Deontay. But as you heard, little confidence there. He's a confident kid. I wouldn't consider him cocky at all. I love the line about physicality being his superpower. And let's be honest, Banks is going to be one of the big keys to this team, especially on the back end. If he plays well opposite of Dory Jackson, this team has a chance to do very good things on defense. Let's get into today a little bit, some observations. Number one, the run defense has been great, even with Nacho out with his groin issue. I think what they've done up front, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and tell you want to know who flashed today? Rookie 7th rounder Jordan Riley from Oregon. Giants liked what they saw yesterday from people I talked to this morning when they watched back the film of yesterday's practice of Riley and his work inside on the interior, also in one-on-ones. And Riley today with a forced fumble with the ones. Kayvon Thibodeau, 2 fumble recoveries, including that one. Thibodeau made more noise today than people gave him credit for yesterday. We'll say that. And Dane Belton with a tremendous fumble return, basically ripped the ball out of the back's hands and took it the other way for a score. Belton was very active today with the 1s and 2s. So defensively, Riley is somebody right now, I think, that's making a push, and it'll be very interesting to see what he can do in the preseason games, provided he's going to play. I think, Alshon Robinson, not Alshon. Thinking Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Robinson is back off the pup, but he's not competing in practice right now going against the Lions. He'll ramp up more next week when the Giants are practicing on their own. But, you've got a chance to have Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence with the first team and then a third guy rotating in. And then you'll have Nacho and Alshon Robinson with the second team if they have to spell Leonard or Dexter. And now if you put Jordan Riley there, and now DJ Davidson is not back yet, but obviously he's trying to get back from an ACL. They liked what they saw of him in limited time last summer. Look, if Andre Patterson, the defensive line coach of the Giants, who's worked wonders for years for a career, can get something, immediate contribution from a 7th-round pick in Jordan Riley, who wasn't a star at Oregon by any stretch. And the scouting department of the Giants ended up finding him because of his fit. I think that would be very, very rewarding for Joe Schoen in this front office. All right, a couple other highlights defensively. And I think, I think overall I would consider this a very good day. From people I talked to today, the Giants were very happy with the way Azeez Ojulari played yesterday. On Tuesday, they thought he did very well. Today, the main thing right now is that Micah McFadden with 2 good days in a row. Good run stop today. He had a good day yesterday. Right now, Micah McFadden, I think, has moved into the lead a little bit. I think they'll mix and match with McFadden and Darian Beavers, but Micah McFadden is playing very well next to Bobby Okereke with the starters. So as of right now, when I do my 53-man roster projection, the first one, that will be tomorrow, Thursday morning, will hit. I have Micah McFadden ahead of Beavers in that situation. It doesn't mean Beavers isn't going to have a role, but right now Micah looks like he's taking a step forward. So that's always good to see. Later on, the Giants had a sack from Dexter Lawrence, or would-be sack from Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. They were all over the Lions up front today. They did a very good job. I think Jamon Green, who was a rookie for the Giants, an undrafted corner, he had an interception in the end zone in 7-on-7. He also had a pass breakup later in the practice. He's somebody that's coming on right now, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him in the preseason make a push for one of those late spots on the roster for a cornerback if he continues to play well. He's taken his lumps early. Back home in Jersey, he took his lumps from the Giants, from the other guys on the other side of the field. But that's kind of translated into some good play here. He'll be a guy to watch in the preseason to see if he can take that next step. All right, that's pretty much the defense at this point. We're going to switch over to the offense right now. And sounds like Darren Waller and Daniel Jones both had things to say to kind of rally the offense today. Isaiah Hodgins told us about it. You'll hear from him in a second. Darius Slayton talked about it. And I asked Waller, chased him down to the bus when the offense was leaving right after practice. And Waller gave me some good stuff. And it wasn't much, but he just kind of laughed and said, I gave them just a few wise words. So you'll hear Hodgins talk about what he talked about, or what Waller talked about. So let's get to the Hodgins interview now, and then we'll be back to kind of finish out the show and talk about the offense.
I mean, I definitely think it's important just because it shows, like how the season's going to be. There's going to be times where we don't, play our best games, especially on offense. It might be, we might still win, but we played a bad game, or, we might lose, play a bad game. And it's like, all right, how are you going to respond? Are you going to let that one game lead into 3 games, or are you going to bounce back and, and get a win that next week? So.
It was like the mood when you guys were watching the film. I mean, you're probably walking on the field and it wasn't your best day, but you're watching it back. What was just kind of the reaction like?
Just like a lot of stuff that we could fix, and just kind of frustrating because as a competitor, you feel like you give them like a false confidence because they feel like they did good. It's it's not really anything they did. It's on us. So I feel like we went out there today and proved that. So.
Do you feel like Daniel kind of embraced that today as well?
Oh yeah, he was going crazy, firing on all cylinders. He was distributing the ball to everybody. Pretty sure everybody had a couple catches, and he looked great out there. It was decisive, making great decisions, great throws. So hats off to him. He bounced back.
How beneficial just these 2 days to break up the routine, go against another team?
Yeah, it feels real good, man. Just to actually run some of our concepts and our stuff for other people who haven't been seeing it for 6 months straight and everything. So different competitions. So it's definitely a refresher for us.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Isaiah Hodgins for stopping off the field. Audio was a lot better on that one than the Banks interview, but hopefully you got to hear everything that Tay said earlier. Hodgins has had a good 2 days here in Detroit. Wasn't didn't make a lot of noise today, but he was very good yesterday. He was one of the few guys on offense. He, Jalen Hyatt, Saquon Barkley, and today, no Barkley in team periods. Giants just looking at his workload and making sure that he did some 7-on-7 stuff. So let's get into what the offense did today, and I'll give you the breakdown I had for everything they did. The opening period was a 7-on-7 in the red zone. Jones completed all 4 of his passes. He hit Slayton with a strike over the middle, a swing pass to Saquon, a check down to Breda, and then a touchdown to Darren Waller. Waller split 2 Lions defensive backs, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Kelvin Joseph. It was an impressive play, a great way for the Giants to start, to just put whatever noise was from yesterday behind them. Jones looked good. The offense looked much more up-tempo. The pace matched what Detroit had done the previous day. Same offensive line configuration with the starters. Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Ben Bredesen at left guard, John Michael Schmitz at center, Mark Lewinsky at right guard, and Matt Parrott at right tackle. Matt Parrott has done very well for himself, in my opinion, here in Detroit. He's kind of put that performance on Saturday night against Kayvon Thibodeau behind him. Jones had back-to-back touchdowns to Slayton during an 11-on-11. They started out at the fringe of the red zone. Parrott did a very good job against Aiden Hutchinson, kind of worked him back in the pocket and then held him off and gave Daniel Jones enough time to hit Slayton for the touchdown. And then they moved the ball down to the goal line, and Slayton ended up catching a touchdown in the back left corner of the end zone. He was in the air, he juggled it, came down, got his feet down for the score. So that was a great team period for him. Daniel Bellinger and Paris Campbell caught touchdowns from Jones in team periods. Campbell actually had 2. In the last team period, the Giants needed just 1 play to get in the end zone. Jones hit Waller on a short out route for a touchdown. A lot of mixing and matching. I think the Giants are going to use a lot of rub routes again this year if they can avoid penalties. They didn't avoid the penalties last year. So far, they've been coaching them up on that. Paris Campbell seems very effective on the rub routes, especially in the red zone. So we'll see how that takes shape. That's where we're at. So Giants fans should feel much better about this team. Not that you fell off a cliff yesterday worrying about them, but definitely a much more representative effort today than yesterday. And as I wrote and as I talked about on yesterday's show, it wasn't as bad as the headlines made it seem. Daniel Jones probably had 3 plays that had he hit 1 or 2 of them, the day would have looked a lot different. Well, he hit some of those plays today. They called some different routes that maybe fit better against the Detroit defense. And, again, this is still a work in progress. The Giants will now go into their preseason game on Friday night. I don't believe that you're going to see many starters. You may see the rookies just to get a taste of it, but that also may just be one of those things that Brian Dable says, look, we can get a taste next week against the Panthers at home, and then the following week against the Jets, they can decide how many starters are actually playing in that game. So overall, a good 2 days. I think the Lions are a good team. I don't know necessarily if they're the Super Bowl contender that everyone is proclaiming right now. Other than Aiden Hutchinson, I don't see anyone on their defense that stands out as a game wrecker. The Giants have much more talent, in my opinion, game-wrecking talent on their defense than the Lions do. That's not to take anything away from Detroit, but I don't see that player out there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is obviously very scrappy, borderline. He's a yapper. He's constantly trying to get in guys' faces. He's an emotional guy and could work for you and work against you. I think today the Giants did well for themselves. And like I said, if I'm the Giants, I feel pretty good with where I'm at heading into the preseason game on Friday night. We'll see if we're going to have a show tomorrow. Depends on schedule out here for me. There's no media access, but I got a bunch of things I'm working on. Obviously, the newsletter is coming out Friday morning. You can still sign up, and you can sign up continuously. It's northjersey.com/all-in. And we'll have our observations on northjersey.com later today. And we'll be there Friday night. Ford Field, game 1 of season 2 in the preseason for Brian Dable and company. We appreciate you being all in. And as always, we're all in for you.